Hello and welcome to our channel. This is the show where we like to give you our rating first and then talk about the things we did and did not like about the movie you just saw. Today's movie is Gemini Man. We saw it. Did you guys see it? Did you see it in the special 3D high frame rate? What did you guys think if you did? Because we are letting you know in 3, 2, 1. Wait for it. This is essentially Will Smith's solo Deadshot movie. I mean, this is his exact character from what he was in Suicide Squad. I'm actually shocked how similar these two characters are.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Oh yeah, I did. You could essentially rework the script and gotten a Deadshot solo movie. But this is what we got, Gemini Man. Right up front, I just want to mention something that actually got on my nerves a little bit when I was watching this movie. We'll get into the things we like in just a second. The trailer blatantly has mismarketing it, and I hate when trailers do this because it sets up your expectations for something similar. But there is a line in the trailer where Will Smith at the end of the second trailer says this.
Because what if somebody actually knew what we really are?
After he says that line, I'm now inclined to believe that there was something to do with his character as well, outside of Junior. We know what Junior is.
25 years ago, he took my blood. He made you from me.
But that line implies that there is something what Will Smith is. Not the case. He is a regular human being, perfectly normal. That's a blatant lie in the trailer when you hear that line. He is essentially just like Deadshot. There's nothing special. They're just great shooters.
I mean, that's something.
Yeah, but that doesn't, like, it's not some big secret. What if someone actually knew what we were? It's like, what? And that line's not said in the movie. That line's just not in the movie.
There's a couple things in the trailer that's not in the movies.
Now, the actual line in the movie is, what if someone knew what you actually are? And he's talking in reference to him opening his heart and, like, letting someone into his life. That's the moment. He's like, and you're afraid of someone actually knowing what you really are.
Oh, but the way that they worded it made it sound like they were something.
Like there's some government secret experiment. Like he was a Captain America type of person gone wrong or something. Like Will Smith was made in the lab. He's a regular human. He's essentially just like Deadshot from Suicide Squad. Just a regular human being who's a great shooter.
Well, when you put it like that, now you're making me say wait for it.
No, if you like the movie, I'm just saying those are things like, as we were watching the catacomb scene, I was like, oh, like, is this where we're like going to reveal like what these guys actually are? When the line started coming, I was like, wow, I was blatantly lied to in those trailers. That's annoying. Now that that's out of the way, I just wanted to warn everyone, if you haven't seen the film and you're watching this, like there is no big secrets. Like the film is exactly what the trailer is. And if you see the trailer, like, oh, that looks kind of cool, 100% go check it out. But if you're looking for something deeper than what the trailer is, because the trailer is blatantly misleading, don't buy into it. The movie is what the trailer is. It's that trailer 1. Go watch that trailer 1. And if you watch that, you're like, oh, cool. Yeah, go check it out. Now, with that said, let's get into the things that we actually liked about the movie. I will go first. Will Smith's great, but I feel like Will Smith's great in everything that he does. But he really helps sell this movie. The 3D effect is probably some of the best 3D I've seen in a really, really long time. I wasn't that enamored with the 3D of the last two Avengers films. So I thought some of the 3D was lacking and some of it was misaligned at times. This film's pitch perfect, which is 3D. The story is semi-interesting, if not quite predictable, and it is incredibly well shot. The action's really good. And I actually liked all the side characters that we got alongside Will Smith. Mary Elizabeth Winstead is a good side character. It's got a lot of people say that it's got a 90s vibe, and I think that's something that 90s films do, where you had like this main character and then they had these side characters that were there to help make you laugh and actually liven up the scenario that we were in. And that's very much leans into that aspect of 90s films, considering this film was written in 1997. So I liked all that aspect, and as a fan of 90s action films, I liked all that stuff. Sam, so what are some things that you liked about the movie?
Well, I liked the action sequences. I thought the action sequences were really good. The side characters were great. I don't know. I didn't have that much of a problem enjoying the film from the beginning to the end. I thought it was very engaging. The story was captivating for me, but I know it wasn't a very unique story or original story, but I still felt that it was pretty good as far as what we were getting. I mean, I didn't really expect much from this film. I wasn't excited about this film, and I think that's why I thought that it was kind of shockingly okay. And that's why I really enjoyed it. I like the action sequences, and the 3D effects was great.
Yeah, walking out of it, you were much more enamored with the film than I was. You were really excited about the 3D. You really liked the high frame rate aspect.
I did,
of it.
and I like I said before, like I wouldn't want to see too many movies in this high frame rate. Like if this is something that's going to be like a mainstream, I'm going to be annoyed because I don't necessarily like it all the time. But for this particular movie, for something, it just felt like something different. We hadn't seen anything like this. I don't think I've ever seen a movie like this really ever.
No, there's only the third film that's applied this. The first one was one of the Hobbit films. I think they only did it for one of them, and there was like major backlash. And then,
oh really?
Yeah, people didn't like it. They said it made it look like a soap opera.
Well, that's what people are saying about this one too. It says it looks like Days of Our Lives, but I heard a couple people talking about that. But overall, I actually thought it was interesting because there wasn't a movie. It was just different. It felt different, and I liked that.
What I will say about the 3D high frame rate is that it does put you in the action. Like it feels like it's unfolding in front of you, like you're watching this stuff happen. I didn't see The Hobbit in the high frame rate, so I'm not sure what that looked like. But the effect when the action is going on is very, very effective when the action is going on. I will say that. When the action is not going on, I thought it looked kind of hokey and fake. And I think this high frame rate would be better suited to something. It makes me kind of excited because I know James Cameron's talking about doing this with the Avatar sequels, and I think it would be cool in the Avatar sequels, but this is something that we disagreed on. You thought it was cool for like the live action stuff, but for the more animated CGI heavy stuff that you would prefer not to have it look as realistic as possible.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the fun part about going to movies is, going to movies and seeing that. And I don't really want Avatar to be too real for me. It's not realistic.
Yeah. I will say that this film I feel like it's for people who are fans of 90s action movies. It does have a certain flavor of like speed, sort of like The Rock kind of vibe to the dialogue. Some of it is kind of hammy and hokey. But if you're someone that's a fan of 90s action films, I think this is a film that could be right up your alley. Now, let's get into the things that we didn't like about the film. So, I can start this one as well. First off, the high frame rate wasn't something I was 100% on board with from the beginning to the end. I think for a film that I felt like the action set pieces were too few and far between to actually warrant the high frame rate for the... And I know you can't parse it out. You can't put like certain sections of the film in high frame rate. But I was just expecting more action from this film that was doing a more experimental technological aspect to its production. Now, I know this is something that we disagreed on. You actually said that you thought the film had plenty of action. It was very action-packed.
I thought it was very action-packed. The action sequences dragged on for a long time, and I liked that. I don't know. I didn't have that problem of there wasn't enough action sequences because I felt like there was.
Yep. The best action sequence of the movie to me is the motorcycle chase sequence.
Yes.
I can't exactly remember where they were at, but it's a very cool sequence, and it's the only sequence where they use the first person's perspective. I don't know why they didn't use it for any of the other aspects of the movie, but it puts the camera in the character's eyes, and then you're watching them aim the gun, like a first-person shooter game.
Yeah.
And when I saw that, I was like, oh, wow, this is awesome. This would be cool if they did like a whole sequence like this. It would really put you into their perspective of the character you're following.
Yeah.
But they only did it. There's probably maybe like 4 shots in that sequence that do it, and then it doesn't come back. They don't do it again.
Yeah.
And I felt like that this is something with the 3D high frame rate that could serve a movie like that to great effect. They just did it a couple times, and I wanted more of that. Also, some of the dialogue is super hokey. Like, just to give you an example of one of the lines.
Well, the end dialogue was very weird. The very last sequence of the movie, I was like, that wasn't needed.
Oh, yeah, the very last scene, just in general, is super cheesy. It's got 90s cheese written all over it. It's, like I said, harkens back to movies like Speed, where you get these, like, cheese... Not that Speed has a cheesy ending,
That was the one part of the movie where Junior looked really fake.
Yeah. The CGI on him was great for the most part, but at the ends, it did look hokey and fake. Just give you, like, some of the dialogue that's said in the film is, "Hey, are your goons still on Henry?" Another line's like, he's like, "No, obviously you don't know what you're talking about, dummy."
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
It's like, there's little lines like that. They're like, oh man, it's a film out of time.
It's showing its age.
Yeah. And why they didn't rework some of the dialogue to be
updated.
The story gets super cliche, and there's some random things that happen at the end of the film that just came out of left field. And when they did come out of left field, you could see what was happening from a mile away. So
it was kind of weird.
Yeah.
The whole ending sequence was just off.
Yeah, I will say the ending action sequence was spectacular. It's just shootout they have in a town.
Just like the story at the end started getting wonky.
Yeah.
You're like, what? No.
And then there's this little turn with Will Smith and Junior where he's like, no, you don't want to live with those ghosts. And then Will Smith ends up doing what he was telling Junior not to do, and it's like, oh, that's another like 90s thing. Like I can't place what movie. I feel like I've seen that before. There are a lot of things that happen in this film that's like, it felt very deja vu for me.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else for you?
No, that's it.
All right. That is it for us. That's what we thought of Gemini Man. We saw the 3D high frame rate version. I wasn't as enamored with it as Sam was. What did you guys think? Did you like the 3D high frame rate if you did see it in that format? If you saw the 120 frames per second version, what did you think of that? We did not see the 120 frames per second version. We saw the 60 frames a second version. There's only 14 theaters in the country that are playing the 120 frames per second.
And the one by us was sold out.
Yeah, the one by us didn't. Well, it's a little bit of a drive for us, but it was sold out once I actually saw the theater listing for it. So that's it for us. Zombieland is next week, so watch out for that review next weekend. And thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Have a good weekend. Have a good day. Have a good night.
And goodbye. Goodbye.
Have crossing all my bases. Goodbye.
Goodbye.